Hello, can you guys hear me? If you're in chat, can you hear me? Okay, hang on. You can hear me. Okay, it worked. All right, cool. Because the thing's saying like, oh, your audio stream's current bit rate is 0. So maybe YouTube's just being weird. All right, we're waiting on Mike Minotti now. Are we waiting on Mike? We're waiting on Mike Minotti. Let's see, let me check out Zencaster. Test my audio in Zencaster. Test. Let's see, what am I using in here? Broadcast stream mic. Mike's he said something about wolfing some food down, so let's see here. Make it big like this. Studio mode. Let's see what that looks like. Live. That should be good. Whoa. All right, we're just waiting on Michael Minotti. Can you not talk about stocks? No, we're gonna talk about it somewhat. We're not gonna re-explain it. I'm not gonna explain what happened again. We're not. I think that if there's one thing on the internet that exists now, it is here's an explainer, simple in normal terms for what happened. We don't need another one of those. I just want to talk about a little bit about what it means. But we won't go too far into it. Well, I don't know. It is a despairing topic for me, so I probably won't want to spend a lot of time on it. If you have 10 bananas and I borrow 5, right? We've had it explained via Donkey Kong and Pokemon and everything else. What if Mike joins and the first thing he says is something hateful? And he doesn't know that we're live. What good is this kid? Showing up this late. He knew what time we started. Yeah, Balan Wonderworld is bad. What has RGT said about it? Has he done a video on it yet? I haven't looked. I don't know why it is fun to troll him about that, but for some reason, when Mike was like, I don't like this, after last week's show, Mike, when I talked to him for a little bit longer, Mike's like, yeah, I've been playing that demo and it's bad. I'm like, wow, it's just straight up bad. And he's like, yeah, it's straight up bad. And the first place my mind went to was RGT. I'm like, I'm gonna go bother him about this. So yeah, I have to. I wonder if he's just gonna avoid it.
Hello.
Hey, there's Mike. Mike, you're live on the internet.
Balan Wonderworld's not very good.
Yeah, there he is. All right. The call is ongoing again in Discord, so I think you just gotta join it.
Oh yeah, I had to turn the camera on. It's my problem.
Oh. Looking good. Looking good, Billy Ray.
I'll lower that in a second here.
Yeah, I know. No worries.
Situated.
Oh God, Mike.
I had surprise food come, and you don't turn down food.
No, yeah.
Right now, I don't have a car. It's getting worked on. It's annoying.
What's wrong with it?
The heater broke, which in Ohio right now is pretty necessary. So like, it's going to cost a lot of money and take too much time. And I'm like, well, I'm going to need a heater, I'm afraid. So that's non-negotiable.
Yeah. All right. He did, and he lost his mind. Okay. All right. I'll have to watch the video then. That's pretty funny.
Why is this? I don't know who this person is. Why would they be upset that?
I don't know. For some reason, it's like the game he's been looking forward to the most in this first part of the year.
Well, and that was a mistake.
Yeah, that was his first mistake. That was his first mistake. Yeah. Okay. So I'm trying to. I think we got most things in order. Actually, let's test the intro music.
Hi everyone.
It's going out. It's going out to the feed. It looks like.
The worst part is
Oh my God, Mike is echoing. I'm sure everybody, right? Mike's probably got an echo. That's not his fault. Once again, this thing is just
my fault.
The routing on this keeps resetting. I should probably just save it, huh? Mike, talk. Okay. No, you were echoing, but now you're not because I fixed it. Yeah, I mean, I know how Ohio is. In a lot of places, not very walkable. Is there a chance you could walk to some place that's like within a mile to get beer? Mike is muted. Mike, you are muted. That's the problem. Talk now.
Hi.
Okay, now that they should be able to hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah, there was no echo, but he was on the same feed as me. That was the problem, and I don't want that, so it makes it more difficult to.
What do I tell you about all these technical issues, Jeff?
We're not live yet. We're not live yet. This doesn't. We haven't started the show.
Do you like my novelty glass that I got from the Luxor Hotel in Las Vegas in the late 90s that has my brother's face superimposed on not a white football player?
Yeah, every word of that got even better. So yes, I'm very excited by this.
I have one of these, the same thing, but it's Street Fighter 5 like promo artwork, and I'm on Ryu, body. I'll have to find that for you sometime.
Yeah, please. The thing about having brothers is you end up with that sort of thing. I have my brother on Indiana Jones.
Yeah, we have the same exact. Yeah, that's AJ's. That's my older brother's. Yeah. Is it him like holding onto the rock thing?
Yes, yeah, holding. Yeah, totally.
Literally the same exact setup. Then where did you get that one done at?
It was when we went to Disney World, but I don't know if it was at Disney World or Universal. I can't remember. I can't separate those things in my mind. I have one of me, but I am Luke Skywalker with Yoda on my back.
Oh man, we're getting super chats already. We haven't really started. So let's start.
We'll save it for the show. Let's maybe we could do those right after we do the credits there. You could pop it in there. Okay. So we'll get started. We have the news. I have questions in here. People can ask questions with super chat. I'm going to do the music, so I just got to hit the record button. I am good. Are you good, Mike?
I am good. I don't have a Coke Zero or a beer, but I'll manage.
I am sorry about that. Let me hang on.
You should be.
This audio's on this tablet. Let me turn that off.
Now I'm more head level with you. That was
perfect. Cool. All right. I'm going to hit the button. 5, 4, 3. It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this. Welcome to the GameSpeak Decides podcast. This is the podcast where we decide everything about the world of video games so you don't have to think for yourself. I'm your host and the master of Dogecoin, Jeff Grubb. With me is...
me, Mike Minotti. You threw me off the Dogecoin. Is that how you say that? Doge?
I think it's Doge. Yeah, I think it is. I mean, I'm the Dogecoin master, so I should know. It's a weird one here in video games this week, Mike. There's like tangential, huge video game stories, but it's like not really about video games. We'll get into all that stuff.
I mean, I tell you what, I feel like this industry shouldn't be as interesting as it is. Yeah, I was thinking about that a lot yesterday. Like these last 2 weeks, like why? These are toys, based. I mean, I don't, not to diminish these are art and meaningful things, but like, man, I tell you what, I'm not ready to talk about stocks and brokerage firms. And here we are.
Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. You can get more from Mike and me at gamesbeat.com. If you have something to share with us, email the podcast at gamespluspodcast@venturebeat.com or get us on Twitter at GamesBeat. Thank you to Carlos Ayin and Sand in the Rain Music on YouTube for the use of our theme song. If you're listening to this on the website, Player Widget, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching live on YouTube, you can subscribe to an audio version of the show, so in case you ever miss it, it'll show up right there in your podcatcher of choice, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, what have you. And if you like the show, rate us wherever you're listening. It tends to help, grow the show. I looked this up for the first time in a long time, and we got into the top 100 video game podcasts in the United States on iTunes.
We need to get better cover art then.
Yeah, we do. I mean, that's your job, man. I'm no artist.
You're right, actually. Why? Yeah,
I am no designer. I have the aesthetic skills of like a snake or like maybe a fish.
Snake?
They don't have arms, so how would they draw anything good, Mike?
All right, sure.
I don't know.
They slither.
They slither, yeah. I mean,
there's I'm not going to talk about that romance game with the girl with no arms who paints now, but I almost did and thought better of it.
I appreciate that. Let's move on. You're right. It seems like the last Thursday of like each week something big has happened, right? In like the world, and now like this week the big Thursday thing was video games. Like it was like there was impeachment and there was the inauguration and all this stuff, and then this past Thursday, yesterday for us here as we're recording this, the GameStop story really went big.
Right, and it's weird because it's about GameStop. It's not really about GameStop though, and even less about video games. But it is tangentially related, and it feels, it's something we can talk about. I was very hesitant to write about it. You were able to write something about it that was very good, so I'm glad I just waited for you because I was just like, I don't know.
I didn't want to do another explainer because that's like there are 50 of those, all of them very good, all of them with like really good analogies. You could find good analogies everywhere now to try to dumb this stuff down for us like video game folk. And so when I went to go write about it, it was just like, what am I feeling? And we'll get into that. I guess we could start. We have a super chat that kind of is about this. So you want to read that one real quick?
Yeah, sure. It was from Nick Turbo, $5. Thank you, Nick. Says the rich manipulates market. Reddit does the same thing. The rich surprise Pikachu face. I want to do a surprise Pikachu. Can I do that?
Yeah. So we're not going to explain what is happening here again. Not really. If you don't understand what's happening at this point, I'm going to assume you don't really care to understand because there's plenty of places to go to find out what's going on here. You're probably just like, let's talk about video games. And I'll just say that, I think you're safe to ignore the story. I think that it's also, if you are kind of watching from the sideline and you're like, this seems weird and this seems strange, I'll tell you why I think that, and then we'll move on. It is, I do think it is symptomatic of where we are in terms of how we as like a society, you say that word, but it's like we live in a society, but as a society, how we relate to our collective institutions. And when you are a year into a pandemic and everyone feels like they have been left on their own by a government that has failed them over and over and over, and then a group comes along with a bunch of memes that like are the things that you can believe in about the stock market and say, hey, let's just, nothing matters. So let's just all like treat it like nothing matters and go out there and make as much money as possible, or destroy the wealth of other people who deserve to have their wealth destroyed. That's very enticing. That's very attractive to a lot of people. And it's to me, it is also a little bit, the reason I despair about that is because that has always been the mindset of people on Wall Street. They have always felt like, let's make as much money as possible. Nothing's real. The only thing that matters is making more money. And I think the sad thing here is that, of course, that is taking hold among the rest of us. Of course, we all feel that urge, feel that desire. A lot of times, before, 30 to 50 years ago, before like the 80s, before like people got really, super greedy and the greed became mainstream, it was very easy to ignore this stuff that was still happening, but it was easy to ignore because people had meaningful things happening in their life and they felt like they could rely on each other. They felt like they could rely on the institutions that had been built up around them by the government, by their local communities. And I think we are feeling extremely detached from that stuff right now. And that and so people,
we're all enemies now.
Yeah, it feels. Yeah,
we all hate half of the people we know.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does feel that way. And it's like, and people see this stuff happen. They're like, this is just more evidence that the stock market is real. And if there's one good thing coming out of this, it's that people will realize the stock market's all made up. And it's I think that is actually that is the danger here. Of course, it's made up.
Of course, it's made up in the same way that laws are made up, or countries are made up, or even money's made up. It's only as real as we believe it is.
Yes, and it's like the all of this, and I mean all of this, only works when we actually have some faith in these things that are not real. And the danger is that we embrace this nihilism to the point where, like, well, the stock market's not real, nothing matters. We really can just hurt each other because it's all just fake anyhow. And why shouldn't I come out on top in the end? And Wall Street deserves to sort of have that thrown back in their face. Absolutely. That's the one good thing here, is that it's like the people that are really getting hurt the most are the people who deserve it. But I do think there is there's the hint of people falling to the dark side a little bit, right? Where where we become, there's no risk of anyone becoming as bad as Wall Street here, no way. But there is like this thing of us being slightly spoiled, and falling into the dark if we sort of continue down this same path, which is kind of what we've been doing for a while now. And it's I think there may be some silver linings here in terms of maybe there will be some consequences. To me, that feels like the one thing here is like, if there's consequences, I think we can come out the other side of this pretty good. If they're like when Robinhood shut down their trading for people, it's like they'll have excuses. They'll be able to explain why it was legal that they did it, but when they just do it, and it just so happens that the way that they shut things down blocks out certain traders that would have continued driving up the price, and now the price is falling. It's very convenient. And it seems like there should be consequences, and it seems like there's a lot of thirst to punish these people for treating average Joe traders this way. If there are consequences, then I think maybe we'll come out of the other side and be like, okay, things do matter, and your actions can have repercussions, and that gives me some faith that we are all in this together. And when we all see someone doing something bad, and we all know it's bullshit, they're not going to get away with it. If they do get away with it, it's just going to get worse. And the next time something like this happens, it's going to be even more nihilistic and even more dangerous to people's, personal finances, but also just our sort of our moral center. I think it's upsetting, but I'm hopeful still that we'll be able to pull out of it.
Mattathias sent $5, says, what show movie can best describe this week? Startup.com, The Big Short, Spice and Wolf. I watched The Big Short and I liked it, but I was kind of embarrassed because they would do those scenes where they were literally like, here's
the dumb version,
Margot Robbie in a bathtub explaining finances for you idiots so you understand it. Oh, there's a girl so you can look. And I'm like, I still don't understand.
Yeah, I read the book.
I think I do better now just because of all this and trying to understand it. I think now I finally understand what a short even is. Like, I got that now. But yeah, the only one of those I've seen is The Big Short. And I guess maybe it explains, although that's housing and that's different.
The Big Short is somewhat useful because it does explain short selling, but it doesn't, like, there's no short squeezing in it, which is what happened here. Again, we're not going to get into the details of what happened. I think Liar's Poker is probably the book by the same author that did The Big Short. I think the Liar's Poker is probably the most useful one because I think one thing here, like the people said, oh, people are going to see what's happening. They're going to know this is all one big hoax. And imagine if this turns into a general strike and like we all come from the left and things get, it's like that stuff's not going to happen. Most people are going to read this as a manual for how to make money. And they're going to read this as like, I want to do that so I can get rich too. And Liar's Poker is very much in the same vein where it criticizes the way Wall Street works. And then if you want to read it as a way to make money, you can. And if you want to read it as ways that it's exposing just how much of a fraud this whole system is, you can also read it that way. And I think that's kind of what's happening here, where like it's a Rorschach test that tells you how you feel about the system overall. So yeah, but it's a book reading. Boo. I don't know. It's not really video game related, so we don't have to talk about it much more. I guess any other thoughts, Mike?
No, yeah, gosh, let's see what happens. For me, it's a coin flip. Like either I feel like something very interesting is going to happen or nothing's going to happen. And I just don't know. We got $2 from Georgie. He says, sorry for off topic. Is Sega being bought? No, I don't think they're being bought, right?
I don't think so. We got some stuff about Sega that we'll talk about here in a bit in news. I guess let's bring in a question from Eat the Hype from Discord. I guess, I need to put this into the credits there at the beginning. So if you want to ask a question on Discord that will definitely be featured in the show each week, you could join the Patreon for my Discord, for my podcasts.
Join Jeff's Patreon.
Patreon.com/Jeff Grubb. That's where to do it at. So that'll get you. So the joining the Discord is free. That you don't have to do anything. That's this is the Patreon's kind of like a tip jar. If you want to join the Discord, the link should be in the description of this video, or if you're listening on the podcast, you can find it there. But there are a couple of private channels on the server, and those are reserved for Patreon subscribers, and you can ask questions in there as a podcast producer. So this one comes from Eat the Hype. I'll go ahead and give you a question for this week's show. With all of this buzz around GameStop shares, what does or what could this short squeeze on GameStop mean for us gamers? Are GameStops about to close in 6 months? Is Mr. Chewy, one of the investors in GameStop, about to take over the company and turn it into the next subscription-based e-commerce online club? I don't know. I think that there's... Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, no, I mean, everything I know about stock overs is from what I understood about the time it almost happened to Disney in the 80s because of my obsession with that company. It seems very complicated. I don't think just one guy can do that. I don't think he has that much stock. I know he has a lot. He's gotten very rich, but he's gotten very rich because the price of the stocks he got, which was substantial, went up, not because he's like a majority owner or something. I imagine not much is going to change. I imagine it might help them in terms of just they're liquid for a bit. I don't think there's suddenly going to be an uptick in stores reopening or more stores closing. I think that the steady decline is going to kick back into gear at some point.
Yeah, I'll say that. So my understanding is that the majority of GameStop stock is still owned by the board of directors, and that board of directors was frozen from trading anything because they're in like the quiet period before they're reporting their earnings, and so they legally weren't allowed to sell, or at least contractually weren't able to sell. I don't understand this stuff perfectly.
Usually when you want to do a takeover, you're not going to be able to get just enough stocks like using Robinhood or something. You got to start going to like significant owners, other majority owners, and stuff like that.
And so I'll say that we'll know a lot more about what this means for GameStop when they do report earnings, which I think is next week or the week after. It's coming up soon.
Mm-hmm.
We're in earnings season. They'll have to talk about this stuff. They'll have to explain what it's going to mean for them. My guess is that if the stock is still significantly inflated. Now, it doesn't have to be $400, but if it's $100, $80, and the company comes out of its quiet period and is able to sell stock, it's probably going to unload a significant amount and try to get that liquidity, like you said, and then use that to rebuild the stores. Or maybe some board members will be like, fuck it, I'm out. There's no way we're ever going to push the stock price higher than what I just sold it for. So we're just gonna we'll wait and see. My guess is that this won't be a long-term detrimental. There will still be GameStops. I think it's kind of quickly going to right itself, and it'll be on the same pathway that it was on before.
Right. I mean,
maybe with more money in
the
its pocket.
Same problems that they always had, unless they can use an influx of cash to somehow push some new initiative that's going to fix all of their problems, which they were already working on new initiatives anyways, and I don't know, maybe more money will help those ideas. I don't know. I think we all think that GameStop is still on the way out eventually.
Yes. So, you know what? We should do Xbox Live Gold reversal, and then we'll get to that Sega stuff. So we did a whole episode last week about how Xbox Live Gold was gonna double in price, and then later that night, they reversed this decision. Were you surprised by that, Mike?
I thought that the decision might be reversed. The speed of it surprised me. I mean, that night was pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was a shock to see it happen that quick. You got the sense very quickly that everyone on the Xbox PR team had been working all day. All the people that normally handle this stuff were all tweeting at the exact same time, like, "Hey, look what we did!" Or if they weren't tweeting that, they were saying, "I'm going to get a glass of wine now," or something like that. So they had definitely been working nonstop. Very stressful situation.
I wonder if anyone got in trouble for pushing that whole thing through. When you know that there were probably a lot of people inside said, "Let's not do this. This is people are gonna be mad," and the other person was like, "No, we're doing this. It's fine." And then when it was a giant backlash, there was a lot of probably finger pointing and yelling and saying, "Look, we told you so, and we're going to reverse this right now, and what needs to happen for that to happen, and how else can we make this look better? Let's go ahead and talk about the free-to-play thing earlier than we wanted to." All sorts of stuff. But yeah, there's so much about that I would love to know more about, but there's so much you can kind of just infer from like the timeline.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I bet someone probably did get in trouble. No one's going to get fired, I don't think, but I think that there was people, even people pretty high up, that you would think would be 100% the authors of this decision, were probably like, oh, okay, wait, actually, no, what happened here? This actually makes me mad. I think that's probably realistic. You gotta, the way these big companies work is, if you are in charge of Xbox Live Gold and it is on the back burner for the company overall, as opposed to Game Pass, like if this was a Game Pass decision, 100% the people at the very top would be involved in every minute detail. Xbox Live Gold is a legacy product. It's something that they are not actively considering as their future. It is something that you put someone else in charge of, and I think that's probably what happened here. Now, that doesn't mean that Phil Spencer didn't sign off on it. He more than likely did, but I think he trusted the people that he put in charge of it to have very expertly handle the rollout, and that's the part that definitely didn't happen, and it was so bad that they had to reverse it. They're not going to be able to pull this off again now. They're not going to be able to raise the price of Xbox Live Gold. Yeah. And they're going to have to figure out another way to move people to Game Pass, which of course is the eventual, the desired outcome here.
That's kind of the weird thing, right? Is that Xbox Live Gold seemed like this kind of weird afterthoughty thing that a lot of people were just kind of done with. And this just really tanked its reputation so much more, even though it's reversed. I think Microsoft was able to ultimately get back the goodwill it needed to. I'm sure, some people are skeptical. There was a lot of people who are like, oh, they had this whole thing planned, which every time there's one of those, I'm like, no, they didn't. Yeah. I don't think so.
Oh, yeah. But it definitely wasn't a conspiracy. It definitely wasn't them trying to make themselves look good by like, oh, yeah, we listened to people. It doesn't make a lot of sense, and also they just
we're a $1 billion company. Here's something fun to do. Let's lie about some weird thing, and then we'll have this weird we'll play mind games with everybody.
Yeah,
and it's our meta.
We'll gaslight people. People love that.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
Do you think that Xbox Live? Do you think this is gonna push the whole Xbox Live Gold going away thing again now? Are they having those talks again? I mean, who in that company likes Xbox Live Gold now?
Well, I mean, I gotta imagine there's some accountants that are like, this is so much money. How would we ever give this up? But yeah, to me, I think even when it was going up in price, I think it was still going to go away within a matter of years. I do, maybe that timeline gets pushed up. Is kind of my opinion on it now. Now, I mean, I don't know if you mentioned it. The free to play is now. For free-to-play games, you don't have to pay for Xbox Live Gold anymore. That is different. They changed that. Now it is like the same as if you were on Nintendo Switch or PlayStation 5.
And you said that was in the works. Like that was something they were going to do.
That was something that they were going. That was on the roadmap for later this year. Even before this reversal, this is something that they always had planned. They moved that up and announced as part of this as sort of a make good. We have this ready to go. Let's just tell people we're going to do that. It hasn't started yet. They said they're working to get it to a point where they could do it as soon as possible. I think it's probably still going to be a matter of weeks, if not a couple of months. But I think my guess here, and this part's a guess, is they were probably planning to do this alongside Halo Infinite. So, which is it's going to have free to play multiplayer.
Right.
So they would want
that makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Although there's a game that still haven't heard very much about that, and that is
Yep. So yeah. I mean, this happened last Friday night, so we're coming really late to it now, almost a full and a whole entire full week later. So I guess not much else to say here. So let us talk about Sega. So Georgie with the $2 said sorry for off topic is Sega being bought, and I think the reason for the people might be speculating about this is because there is some restructuring happening. I started to notice this because they fired the voice actor that does Sonic. I don't know if they fired them, but that person is no longer doing the voice of Sonic.
It seemed pretty clear that he would have liked to keep doing it,
right?
and he's not going to anymore.
Right, so they are parting ways.
Right.
And then someone shared this in the Discord when I asked for news stories. Toshihiro Nagoshi steps down as Sega CCO, Chief Creative Officer. And then the Roger Craig Smith is no longer the voice actor for Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, Toshihiro Nagoshi is known for doing the Yakuza games, and he's not leaving Sega. He's going back to creative director, but this seems to be part of the ongoing restructuring. And I guess my question to you, Mike, would be: is Sega's problem its creative output? Do you think that's part of the problem? Is it maybe at least a part of the problem? I guess.
Gosh, I'm trying to. I mean, what are their big franchises these days? Sonic still can do okay for them. Maybe underperforming for what it is. Yakuza seems to be doing fine.
But they get they also own Atlas, right? So
Atlas has been doing good. Well, that and like the PC gaming stuff, I think has been doing all right. But maybe they're looking at, say, a Capcom and saying, how come we're not doing as well as a Capcom is? Like Capcom's about to be doing very well because they're going to have Resident Evil, Mommy Dommy, and Monster Hunter Switch
heard it that way before.
Coming out real soon. So yeah, I mean, I would say they're underperforming.
Well, I think they're underperforming, but I think to me the problem is more than the creative output is Persona 5 is still not on Switch.
Well,
there's problems of them getting big games onto multiple platforms. They seem to think backing one horse is still a good idea, and it's not. And if the fact that putting Persona 3 Golden on PC and it performing well surprised them, I think they would.
Persona 4, yeah,
Persona 4
shocked them.
Right,
Persona 4. No, there are so many things like that are baffling. We've been wondering why Persona 5 isn't on Switch, or Persona 4, or Persona 3. I have no idea. Stuff like that is just always perplexing. But why haven't we had a Sonic Mania 2 yet? Right? Like that's kind of been a bit at this point.
Yeah.
Why don't you just go ahead and do that? We haven't really had a Sonic because we had that and Forces in the same year. Remember we were supposed to get like a last year we were supposed to get Sonic news every month. The pandemic, I was like, yeah, you're getting no news now.
Okay. Christian Whitehead was the like community modder that they brought in to do Sonic Mania, and I think that they really need to keep him around and continuing doing that stuff. But it almost seems like promote him, give him more responsibility, put him in charge of a team making a 3D Sonic Mania.
Well, there's still so much again, it's like everything else in the world these days. There's like half and half of Sonic fans. There's still people who love the 3D Sonic games. I was shocked how many people were vehemently upset about that voice actor not being Sonic anymore. I was like, is that something?
Are we talking about horny people?
I mean, I don't think that's it. I don't think. I don't know if we can explain all of it like that. And the people man, this.
How I like to explain everyone away with just being horny. Everyone's horny.
One person had a popular tweet that was like, if Sega had their way, Sonic would just go back to having no voice and not talking at all. And I was like, that would be fantastic. That would be so good. And everyone's like, yeah, right. They're out of control. So I don't know. I bet Sega's also confused. What do people want?
I'm sure. No, you're definitely right. That seems like a hard fandom to pin down.
It is because those games there's so many awful games, and yet that fan base is ravenous. That's the most angry people have ever been for me was when I gave a bad review to Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Part 2, a disgustingly awful game that no one likes. They came at me hard. It was bizarre.
Man, what a terrible idea that entire thing was. That game was, yeah.
The Half-Life Alyx people weren't nearly as mean. So, I don't know.
Okay, yeah. So they're doing some sort of restructuring. I don't think that this is a prelude to them being acquired. If there's some other reason why people think that, feel free to share it in chat. We'll try to catch people.
I don't know. I don't necessarily connect the dots there about how.
Right.
I could see them doing some restructuring because, like I said, maybe they're kind of looking at things and thinking we should be doing better than
they should
what
be.
We are.
Yeah,
they should be. They with the properties they have and stuff like that. I mean, even weird like Streets of Rage 4. I'm still confused. It seems like Sega wasn't really that much a part of that.
Right. How do you not see that doing very well and not like get ahead and be like, oh, actually, no, we really super duper want to be involved with this. It's confusing. Yeah. And that wasn't the only old Sega franchise that was like that, right? There's a new
Toe Jam and Earl recently, and Sega had nothing to do with that. And like, I don't know if that game was that good, but whatever. And maybe try doing something with Echo or Shinobi, or like make a new Phantasy Star actual RPG. I don't know, something, but they aren't doing much.
Well, CD Projekt Red is doing a little bit here. They are adding modding tools. They have added modding tools to Cyberpunk 2077, but they don't want you doing too much to Keanu Reeves, who they are very upset that people are having sex with inside of Cyberpunk 2077. Wow. So, to me, I'm like,
what do you want me to say about this, Jeff?
I want you to say people should be allowed to fuck Keanu Reeves. Of course, that's why I included this.
Wow.
Say it, Mike.
No,
for
I'm
the
say
people.
That's a sin, and that you should not be allowed to do that.
It is a weird, like, it's always a weird risk. You
were yelling at the Sonic fans for being horny. What's wrong with you?
Like when Hideo Kojima included like Conan O'Brien in that one game. It's like, oh, he's going to end up in a Steam filmmaker porno before the end of the year. And I don't know if that ever happened.
I don't think Death Stranding was popular enough.
Yeah, that might be the problem. But it's like you got to think those people out there who like make that stuff are always looking for the like new models, and they'll find them wherever they can get them. But yeah, so Keanu Reeves is 3D lifelike character models now out there. This was bound to happen. Yeah. Yeah, I guess.
I wonder. Do you think Keanu Reeves is upset about that?
No, I don't think
he's happy about it. I don't know if he's upset.
He's vibing, man. He's just vibing. You can't get to Keanu Reeves.
Cyberpunk check.
Yeah, like he was in that game, and he was a big part of the marketing. And then when it all blew up, like no one was like, let's go bother Keanu Reeves about it, because it's like he's just gonna be like, man, I just did my job. I don't know.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? I guess you're gonna have sex with him in the game. Is what you're
I guess that's what you're gonna do. Well, don't do it as revenge. That's fucked up. Like,
everyone's
do it because you love him.
Everyone's going to hate fuck Keanu Reeves.
You have to do it because you love him. You can't do it because you hate. No. Gabe Newell wants to put a controller in your brain, Mike. How do you feel about that?
Of course he does. How I feel about that is that I wish so badly that Gabe Newell was less ambitious.
Yeah.
I wish it every night. I wish that he was happy just being a guy who made good games. And I understand, he obviously is allowed to do whatever he wants, and he can be as ambitious as he wants. But I felt like 4 years of his life and our lives were spent on Steam machines that just nothing happened with that. And their controller, nothing happened with that. And their big VR push, even with their big half of game coming out, it already feels like not much is really going to happen with that. So I feel like Gabe Newell desperately wants to be a Steve Jobs, and I feel like he thinks he's so close, right? But I don't know if it's going to happen.
To me, I feel the same way about this that I feel about Elon Musk's attempts to put computers in people's brains. AI is going to get so good that we don't need to do that. AI is going to predict what we want and be able to do with software what you would do by putting a controller in your brain. Really? It's just going to be able to guess what you want. You don't, and people are going do you want an AI that's pretty close to what you want, or do you want me to put a machine in your brain from Elon Musk or Gabe Newell, who's fucking off in New Zealand? Of course, I don't want those monsters putting computers in my brain. That sounds awful, and I think a lot of people are going to have that reaction. And I'm someone who's I think maybe primed to want that sort of thing. I've read a lot of science fiction. I know how it could go bad, but I also still think it's pretty cool. But I'm not going to be first in line for that stuff. I think most people are going to default to, I don't want to be first in line for the cybernetic thing attached to my brainstem, especially when I could just rely on deep learning computers to sort of, you just connect, you put a phone in your pocket and it connects to all the machines around you, and it just guesses what you want because it's AI and it's very good at predicting things. So it's also
it's not going to automatically make games better. That if I think about jumping, instead of pushing the A button to jump,
Yeah, I guess I think the real potential here is maybe force feedback to to confuse your brain into thinking something is pressing on you.
That sounds terrifying.
Well, I mean, not if it's Keanu Reeves, like
oh, come on! Oh my God, you're out of control.
Yeah, I agree with everything Mike said there. Hitman 3 is a hit, man.
Good headline. Good job.
Yeah, thank you. The game came out. It sold really well right away. It went right to #1 on the UK charts, which is like there's a weekly UK chart, so we could get that information really quickly. It also outsold its predecessor, Hitman 2. So a lot of people are really ready for this game. I think it benefited from the timing.
I think the timing is. I mean, it feels like so many more people were talking about this and playing this as opposed to Hitman 2, and I think it was like the only big game in January, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost baffling that it got away with that in a way that no one else was looking at January and being like, yeah, let's come out then. And like Hitman is just the perfect size of a game to come out then. I mean, it's almost kind of shocking that anybody wants to come out in like November anymore to compete with Call of Duty and whatever Nintendo's thing is and whatever the new Assassin's Creed is and all that stuff.
Did I always say there will be DLC for Hitman 3? I'm hoping there will be.
So.
Yeah,
I finally played the Hitman 2 DLC and it was great.
Very good, very good levels. Yeah, I need to play the island one a little bit more, but it's good. But the bank was great. I love the bank.
I like the island more. But
I think a lot of people do like the island more. I just need to play it more.
Well, I'm like obsessed with. That's like my favorite kind of kitschy.
Right.
Like island obnoxious kitschy.
Yeah, but if they nailed it for you, then I know I know they did it. And that's that might be their specialty, right? These environments that they build are actually always sort of very good at in evoking what they want to evoke, like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I saw someone on Twitter talking about how they like going to the Berlin level and vibing because it reminds them of going to like clubs and stuff. And to me, that's like hell.
Right.
But yeah, for them, that's very relaxing and great. So yeah, I get it.
But yeah, and like people were playing that in VR so they could feel like they were going to the club. I don't know if we talked about that. Maybe that was something we talked about.
The VR, that's so weird how you can only do VR on a PlayStation 4.
I have the dongle, and there's no way I'm hooking that up to do that.
No.
So it already made back its production budget in the first week, and now the game is in the profit zone, which is what business people call it, the profit zone. And then they said explicitly this sets us up really nice for the future. And that takes us to a related story. IO Interactive, the developer of Hitman 3, is staffing up. They're doubling their staff from 200 to 400, essentially starting a second team to work on the James Bond game that they have the license for. We talked a little bit about this when they announced the story. What do you think the scope is going to be for that game?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I imagine it's not going to be anything too much bigger than like Hitman 3.
I agree. Yeah.
I don't think they're going to like try to do GoldenEye multiplayer or something like that. But I'm happy to hear that just because I'm glad that like it's not going to be like a super long wait for the next Hitman, right?
Yeah.
I'm glad of a longer wait than normal just because I think it is good to let that trilogy breathe a bit now that it's done. But I because like I got so into Hitman 3, I was watching like videos and speedruns of all the older Hitman games because I knew I didn't touch that franchise at all.
I'm the same. I'm thinking about going back to Blood Money though, but yeah.
Yeah, Blood Money is the one a lot of people like. Absolution is weird though because Absolution was the one that came out for like Xbox 360 era or even like Xbox One in the very beginning or something. But that's the one that was right before the trilogy, and it's the one that takes a lot of cues from like Uncharted and stuff like that. It's much more linear and kind of Hollywoody. Like in the opening scene is you infiltrate Deanna Burnwood, and looks a lot younger than she does in trilogy, and she's naked and taking a shower, and it's like sexy, and you like shoot her, but this turns out she's fine. Like, and I'm like, I don't know about this.
I might have to actually play that game because it does sound bad, and I kind of want to see it.
It's weird, but it's like super. It's very different. It looked a lot like the only Splinter Cell game I play. I think Conviction. Like it was very linear. It was almost like a Tom Clancy movie. And it also had like the pause time and line up a bunch of headshots. And then it had that same mechanic. So nothing like the trilogy.
Yeah, and I think that's like some of the criticism I've heard of this Hitman from people who did play the old Hitman games were like, oh, it's just the same game still. And I'm like, okay, well, I mean, that just means the old games were good too then, I guess. But
right, well, I mean, you look at like Hitman like 1, 2 and Contracts, like those early ones, and like kind of, but it is so much more primitive, right? There aren't very many NPCs and stuff like that. Blood Money is the one that like, oh yeah, this is basically that same kind of thing, just a lot more primitive. there was Absolution like looked good. It had some pretty impressive crowd tech. Like there was like a part he was like running through like Times Square or something, and like the crowd was spoofed. And I was like, oh, that looks pretty good. This is 2012, not bad.
Yeah, I'm still really into that game. I guess we'll probably talk a little bit about it at the end of the show. You have a more interesting game. We'll get to that soon. But that does it for the news. I have some questions here. Should we get to that?
Yes, absolutely.
If anyone else wants to ask questions, you can always send a super chat live on YouTube right now, or again, patreon.com/Jeff Grubb. That'll get you into the private channel on the Discord where you can ask questions each week as we do the show. Let's see here. Nick Turbo, who actually did in chat say that they IO today announced that they're going to have DLC for Hitman 3. So
I mean, they probably. I feel like maybe that was contingent on the game being a hit.
Yep.
And now it is. I wonder, like, how that's going to work. I wonder if it's going to take place after the game and stuff like that. But yeah, give it to me, man.
Yeah, I wonder if they could get really weird with it, or if they'll do some sort of.
I would like it more. I would like, yeah. But like locations, I want stuff like Haven. That's almost kind of very specific, like aesthetic vibes.
Yep.
Ooh, yeah, give it to me.
Agreed.
I'm looking this up now. I want to see.
Yeah, please. Let's see if they said anything else about it. That'd be great. Okay, so excuse me. Nick Turbo with the Discord question says, with Resident Evil 4 remake in development, do you think Capcom will continue remaking Resident Evil games? What Resident Evil games would you want to be remade? For me, I think that. The first part of this question, will Capcom continue doing this, is going to be very contingent on how Resident Evil 4 Remake performs. I think it sounds like there was some unhappiness internally at Capcom about how Resident Evil 3 did. I think that the team that did the Resident Evil 3 Remake, and I think also worked on the Resident Evil 2 Remake, they got pulled off it because they got afraid of going too far away from the original source material, and Capcom's like, no, we're gonna get crazy with it. So I think they're trying to figure out what the future of these remakes look like, and that's going to depend. If Resident Evil 4 Remake comes out and it's a huge hit, yeah, absolutely, they're gonna find ways to continue remaking these games. Yeah. If Resident Evil 4 Remake comes out and people are like, well, the original's better, I'm just gonna keep playing that, or this is just the same thing again. That could fizzle out, and that might turn them away from this.
Yeah, I mean, the only one I really would like to see a remake of is Code Veronica, because that's
right.
That to me, that's the only one anymore that can really benefit from a remake. I think Resident Evil 4 is fine the way it is. 5 is fine the way it is. 6 is just bad anyway. So what the hell are you gonna do? So yeah, and I don't know why they didn't do Code Veronica. I guess they're just worried that people don't know as much about it because it doesn't have that number, even though it's basically as much a mainline Resident Evil game as any of them. So yeah, that's the only one that I really think needs one. I'm kind of the same mind of 4, where I'm like, I don't know, whatever. Let's see. Hey, so this Hitman thing, they say they're working on DLC, but it's not going to be like new levels like New York or Haven. They're going to be doing like twist on the levels or something. So,
all right.
Yeah,
so
using existing locations. I mean, it's fine.
I mean, it's their live service support that they've done with all 3 of these games. With the first game was an episodic game, but as they released new stuff, the levels got different changes. But in Hitman 2, they released it all at once. But then you would go back, and a few months later, there would, of course, be elusive targets. But then there would be changes to the Hitman 2 and Hitman 1 stages that they would implement. And I don't know. I wonder if they'll still get around to doing new maps. It seems like that might be iffy, which
maybe
is a shame.
Maybe they'll just start working. I mean, they're going to be working on Bond, and they're going to want to start working on the next thing.
Yeah.
I wonder what that's. I mean, that's so far away, but I wonder what the direction will be like for the next thing.
Yeah,
it's got to be similar but different.
Yeah, I wonder if they feel like if they just make it bigger and more complicated, or do you? Because the game is very digital, right? It's very much you flip a switch and then something changes in the world, and now that NPC that was on one track is now on a different track, and now you have an opportunity to push them off of something or whatever. Do they try to make it more analog, where you can make it more messy? I guess it's hard to describe, but do they try to make it more physics based or something like that? I don't know.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Or Breath of the Wild-y, stuff like that.
Yeah, even more systemic, where the systems themselves don't just have a 1-0 state. They have 360 degrees of different states that they could be in, and you just let those systems run into each other until it goes wild. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they necessarily need to do that, but I wonder if they think they should really amp things up. I guess that would be a big risk, so I don't necessarily see them doing that, and I think that's fine. From Noble, he says, or they say, I'm sorry, I actually don't know Noble. Let's see. So Noble, did you think some big companies will buy another publisher? Or do you think companies are going to buy another big publisher, or will we see more self-publishing in the future? Or I guess
that's the thing with Hitman, right? Is that they self-published this one, and like, what was the disadvantage of that? None. What was the advantage? Pretty big. Bungie's doing that too now. I think that is a trend. We are going to see more of these big developers just self-publish because why the heck not? In terms of a big purchase, no one saw Bethesda coming, right? It'll be like you won't see it coming. I really don't think. I wish I had a lead on it, but
yeah, I mean, I think that stuff's still going to keep happening, and it's going to be more frequent. But still, I mean, not like every week something's not going to be happening, but one or two a year seems like a very possible. But yeah, if some of these studios can make self-publishing work, and by doing that is things are less risky and they get more of the money. They'll do that, but if a big company comes along and says we'll pay you to join us, here's a big bag of money, and then you also have security for your jobs, that's really enticing. That's not going to go away. That's going to be Does
the James Bond game have a publisher? Is that just also IO Direct?
They said very specifically we will be developing and self-publishing the James Bond game. So yeah, that is their path is that. I of course one of these companies could still come along and buy them, but their plan right now is to self-publish. From Hayden, is PlayStation running behind on currently scheduled games, or did they sit out January for other reasons?
I mean, the next big thing is going to be Ratchet and Clank, right?
The Destruction All-Stars.
Oh, Destruction All-Stars.
Mike Minotti.
Break.
They delayed Destruction All-Stars from January to March.
That was February. A smart decision.
Yes, it was. I think I wouldn't say that they're behind on currently scheduled games necessarily. I mean, it's game development, so games are sort of always running behind. But I think this is all within their expectations, within their margin of error.
I think the important thing for them was to have a pretty heavily front-loaded launch, and that worked out pretty well for them. And there's still third-party stuff. I mean, Hitman 3 is still, I'm sure, doing pretty well on PlayStation 5. I'm sure if there was a world where Cyberpunk could have filled a gap, but that didn't quite happen.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But there's things happening. I mean, there's still like Persona 5 Strikers, which is a little niche, but that's gonna hit for some people. There's things,
Mike,
it's slower for sure, but I don't think anyone's raising any eyebrows.
No, you're right about that. But Mike, Cyberpunk is still not back on PlayStation Store, right?
The second, I don't even know where they are. They had two big patches planned. I think maybe one of them came out. Maybe when that second one does. But I mean, the patch for next gen, that's not happening until late this year. The second half of the year, they said. So God, who knows? I'm in such a weird position with Cyberpunk because I never started it, and because I just didn't have a code, and then all the reviews said it was good, but you said it wasn't that good. So I was like, well, I guess I'll wait a little bit, and then everything else happened. I was like, well, I don't care. I have so many things to play.
Yeah,
I'll wait till for a year, whatever.
Yeah,
maybe I'll never play it. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, who cares? No one can make you play it, Mike, if you don't want to.
No, they can't. Turns out.
From Schaefer on our Discord, besides Mario 3D World, are there any games to look forward to in the foreseeable future? Mike, you were listing some. Do you have any others out there?
I mean, Bravely Default 2 is coming. I'm still like a little scared of that one. I love Bravely Default and Bravely Second. Something about that demo wasn't quite right for me. I'm not usually a big Muso guy, but I think Persona 5 Strikers will be good for people who like Persona, like me. Gosh, aside from that, what are some of the other heavy? I mean, Ratchet and Clank doesn't have a release date, but it's supposed to be like earlier this year, right? So hopefully that's the big one. That's the one I'm really looking forward to.
Man, I defaulted to Bing on this Edge browser, and so I hit big games of 2021, and it doesn't realize I'm talking about video games. I
mean, some people are starting to get excited for that Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection, which I'm
like in between on that one because people say they think it looks like a Flash game, and it doesn't necessarily give me the vibes. It looks like what that game sort of looked like, with the weird arm animation, and I think it looks fine. I kind of want to try it. All right. I'm looking
Somebody messed up my review sheet. I have to maybe yell at Jason.
Yeah.
Things are missing.
All right. So, oh man, this is not a very good list. The Gamer.
This is the Gamer. Game Informer has a decent one usually.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I guess, there's going to be a lot of big games for PlayStation this year. Yeah, Game Informer. You're right there. We're kind of waiting to see what Nintendo's going to do, right? Nintendo's going to fill in a lot of gaps this year eventually. So we're waiting to hear from them. I think that once we know what they're doing, we'll have a much better idea of what 2021 is going to be. And I think there's every reason to think that Nintendo is going to have a strong 2021. And if it does, then yeah. Bravely Default 2, I think you might have mentioned that. Monster Hunter Rise. And then anything after
Resident Evil. I mean,
yeah, of course, yeah. Returnal. How do you feel about Returnal? Any excitement for that?
What the hell is that?
That's it's the roguelite, like big budget looking 3D game from Housemarque or Housemarque. I can't ever remember how to say it. That the people that do like all of the arcadey games for Sony. They did what was that launch game for the PS4?
Resogun.
Resogun, yes. Housemarque.
Those guys. Oh. Yeah. Sure.
New Pokemon Snap is coming.
I mean, that'll be nice.
Biomutant got a release date, May 25th. Are you excited about that?
No.
Gotta give me something here, Mike. Gotta give me something.
Look, we already got Hitman. What else do you want?
You're right. You're honestly, I'm nearing 100 hours in that game, so I'm very happy with Hitman.
Just play Hitman and old Dragon Quest games like I do.
Yeah,
it'll be fun.
Oh yeah, what do you think? Isn't it a big anniversary year for Dragon Quest?
Yeah, it sounds like Dragon Quest 12 is going to be getting announced pretty soon, so that's exciting. This is the first time where I've actually cared about Dragon Quest that they'll announce a new one. Yeah,
well, I'm very excited for you. Yeah, that does it for questions. So, Mike,
oh gosh,
tell me about Super Mario 3D World, please.
I'm afraid to.
Why?
Because I broke embargoes. I broke 2 embargoes accidentally in my.
Oh, 2? Story. I only know about the 1. Did you get in trouble?
There's 2. They called me, but as they should have. Right. They were very nice.
Okay. But, okay. Good.
But, I did break their embargoes. Right, I swear I read it.
Let me clarify, Mike. Yes. Tell me about Super Mario 3D World, but don't fuck up.
You've done it before too. I don't want to hear anything.
All the time.
Mr. Xbox Series S in the background. I don't want to hear it from you. Nobody even found out. Nobody even cared. You didn't get a phone call.
If they found out, they were like, "Oh, it's just Jeff being Jeff."
Just Jeff being Jeff. They expect more from me.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, oh man, we knew this was gonna happen when we sent Jeff stuff. That fucking bozo. Yeah. Listen. Just tell me, are you enjoying it? I guess. Can you even say that much?
Fantastic. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk. I mean, Super Mario 3D World is it's funny because I was like slightly down on that game back when it came out on the Wii U, and now I
some might say you were wrong. Yeah.
I've 100%. I beat Champion Road. All that stuff. I got every stamp, every green star. I did it all. It was so much fun.
Can you say how the stamps work? Because you used to be able to use the stamp on
they talked about that.
The Miiverse or whatever it was.
There's a screenshot mode now, and when you're doing that, you can use the stamps.
Okay.
I mean, they're basically just collectibles. But yeah, that was smart. I wish I knew if this really made a difference for me, but it does run a little faster, right?
Yeah.
Like every character's movement speed is faster. And I'm not going to say that I thought Super Mario 3D World was a slow game. That didn't occur to me at the time.
I'm sure it helps. I'm sure it helps with how you're enjoying the game. I'm positive. Right, so yeah.
All I can say is right now, like as it is, this game does control very well and feels very good. But so yeah, Super Mario 3D World, I think everyone knows it's great. Bowser's Fury though is very new and it's awesome. It uses all those like 3D World assets and mechanics and the same power-ups, but it's basically like a really big Mario Odyssey level, And the whole thing is like kind of in a lake surrounded by like islands, and each of the islands is sort of a stage, and it's all connected like one big world. And you use Plessy, that kind of Loch Ness monster, as your travel means to get between. Like they're all connected amongst each other in some way, but you can use Plessy to kind of go anywhere you want to. Yeah. And it's like each of these areas like has maybe I think 6 or so. Gosh, maybe that's breaking bar. They have some kind of amount of the stars you can get. And then there's other ones hidden throughout the world, and it's just like you're going around collecting stars, and it's like open world Mario 64 kind of a thing. It's fantastic. It's super good. Yeah,
I'm excited. I am excited, and we have no idea how long it is, right?
I do, and I think actually everyone else does now, because I may have said something about that.
Okay,
and it may have gone out there before I say anything. I'm not saying it again. I broke
embargo with Hitman 2 or Hitman 3, like just a couple weeks ago.
That's right. Yeah, you revealed all the stages.
Yeah, revealed all the stages in the video, and
we're running a sloppy shop here, Jeff. We gotta tighten things up.
And I got the DM right when I saw some comments on the YouTube video that I did, and they're like, "You're gonna go to jail." I'm like, "Oh shit!" I'm not gonna go to jail, but oh shit!
I was so scared because I forget. There's another writer said, "Did you sign a different embargo than I did?" At first, I thought I was like, "No, preview embargo stuff, all good."
Look, yeah.
And then
sloppy shop. Oh, yes, definitely. But also, these embargoes are so specific, and it's such minute bullshit that I typically don't care about. And so, it's a list of 50 things, and it's like you're looking through. Okay, I don't care about that. I don't care about that. I don't care about that. And your eyes glaze over, and then the thing you're like, oh, that'd be cool to mention that. It's way down here. By then, you're like, okay, I can't even retain all this, so I'm gonna have to It's a bad system, but whatever.
The Pokemon ones are always the most ridiculous, because it's like here's every Pokemon by name that you can mention and which ones you can't. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Like no one's gonna remember any of these Pokemon in 2 years.
Right. Yeah. I think a good way to do it is some people would just wait until the game is out and do all their coverage then. And I see some value
so much
there.
of this being scared. You made me think that I did a giant ethics violation earlier in the week, and I found out I was fine.
Yeah, you're buying stock and you're manipulating the market. Yeah.
Oh my god. It's not a video game stock. It's fine.
I don't know. Listen, I wasn't sure. I was just letting you know. Because I was like, I don't feel bad about not getting in on this, because I always think I'm not allowed to buy stock because of our jobs here, and we're not allowed to buy GameStop. We wouldn't be allowed to buy GameStop because we cover GameStop.
That would be an inherent conflict of interest.
Right. So yeah, we definitely, that's not even an option for us.
I mean, if you have 401k, you have stock, right?
Yeah, right. Yes. And
you can't speculate, I suppose. Right.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Now we're talking about stocks again.
But yeah,
Nintendo, I'm so sorry. Please still like me. Remember, I like the game. You can put my words on a box. There might even be, I can't say how many stars are there in their game, but I bet they have a good idea how many stars I'm going to give theirs.
He's sorry.
They're going to like
really
that.
Is. Doug Bowser,
so bad.
Doug Bowser, look at him. Come on, man. Look at him.
I hate having Nintendo disappointed in me.
Yeah.
Unless they, make another bad Kirby game, then I'm disappointed in them.
Can we invest in digital currencies though? Because we do cover those as a website.
You want Dogecoin? I mean, that seems to. I mean, I don't cover them. The website does, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But it's not
murky.
Right, but it's I own dollars, and dollars go up and down with the market, right? So
yeah, I mean, look, as far as I don't know. We're going to be poor no matter what.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know no matter how many Dogecoin I buy. I'm still a video game journalist.
Yeah, I mean, it just matters how nervous I want to be, I guess.
Yeah, if I really want, if there was enough anxiety in my life, if there's something new I could do to add more anxiety, that would be really valuable to me.
I need my Ori music box to calm me down. I think it's in the other room now. That's what I do. I just sit in the corner in the dark.
Oh yeah, just wind it up. Yeah, keep your eyes closed. Don't do anything.
People value me just as much as Jeff. People value me just as much as Jeff. Oh. I didn't have to beg on Twitter to get this.
All right. You been playing anything else? I see here Cyber Ninja. Tell me about Cyber Ninja. Should I play it?
I was into it, but it's really good so far. Pretty simple. It's basically Ninja Gaiden. Right now, even simpler than that, because you don't have the wall jump. I think maybe you get it because you unlock an ability after every level.
Okay.
But it's just super solid, ninja side-scrolling platforming action with a sword. The boss fights seem really good. Cyber Shadow is the actual name. Thank you, Brandon. I did just call it Cyber. I wrote down Cyber Ninja, and that's why Jeff called it that. It's not his fault. It is Cyber Shadow.
Okay, Cyber Shadow. Yeah, I mean,
in my defense, neither of these are great names.
No, Cyber Ninja, I think a little better, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you are a Cyber Ninja, right? In it. But yeah, it's good. I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about it. It's a Game Pass game. If you like retro side scrollers, like Messenger, Shovel Knight, I think you'll be into it.
Yeah, I think I'll give it a shot. I've never beaten the final boss stage of Ninja Gaiden, and I almost kind of want to go back and do that, but it's tough.
I only have through like save states. There's no way to that is so ridiculously hard.
It's really ridiculously hard. Yeah.
It's just a matter of like you have the Ghosts and Goblins in it, right? Where it's just memorization.
Yep, absolutely. It gets boring and you give up. That's I'll give this game a shot for sure. It's cool. It's on Steam and Switch.
It's on Xbox Game Pass.
Oh, it's on Game Pass as well. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's on those other things too, but yeah, just get it on Game Pass.
I'll just play it on Game Pass then. Cool. Hitman 3. What's your state with this game? Have you I guess have you gone back to replay levels now? Because last week when we talked about it, you had played through all 6.
I beat everything. So this week I spent a lot of time just messing around in Dartmouth because that was like my favorite level.
Right.
So I had a lot of fun, like just doing more things there, doing a suit only silent assassin kill, doing all the storylines, getting her shot while she's posing for the picture, pushing her into her own grave, then figuring out like the sniper spot and how to make that work. It's funny how good you get at the collecting the intel part, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like your adventure is like, okay, whenever I need to, I can just go up there and get that. Obviously, not a big deal.
Yeah, it's like it's so like you start the stage and it's so it's not like intimidating. It's very inviting, but you are. This stuff is everywhere, and I have no idea how to get from point A to point B. And man, getting behind those guards is going to be difficult. I'm gonna have to do a lot of work, and then you unlock shortcuts, but you learn the level so well that it becomes super fun to navigate. Like there's this like a concept of people feel only like truly happy with their jobs with their work when they are consistently confronted with challenges that they know how to handle. When you know how to do something and that's your job and people give you a challenge and you're like, I know how to do that, people feel very rewarded with their work. And there's something like that happening with Hitman games when you replay the stages where you see the next challenge and you try to figure like, okay, I'm going to do that. And you know the stage so well that you've already formed a plan in your head. And that's very rewarding. I really like playing the game that way.
And then the last thing I did was I played it on master mode or the hardest difficulty where you can only save once and beat it, and that was fun. And then I was like, I didn't play those 2 DLC levels from Hitman 2, so I went to do that, and I started up that bank level, and I saved one time very early on. Then I did something I went to save again, and I wasn't allowed to, and I was like, oh no, I am in master mode for my first playthrough of this. And Jeff, I'll tell you what, I did it.
Whoa!
I was playing as carefully as possible. Like,
what was that like? Like, was it different? Like, was it significantly different from how you normally play?
Yeah, because like normally if someone like kind of sees me or if I get caught, it's like, oh, I reload my save. Like here, I gotta go. It's like Metal Gear Solid a little bit again.
Gotta go hide.
I have to go hide for a bit and wait for these people to like reset their patterns and stuff. And just it was very different and it was fun though. It's like, it's neat because like, normally I would only do that after I really knew a level very well. Here I didn't know this level at all.
I think I tried to like my first time playing through. I tried to do some of that where I still try to play carefully, but I guess I would like to be forced into that every once in a while.
Yeah, because you can sometimes be a little too fast and loose. You can sometimes be like, well, I may as well try shooting them right here.
Yeah, just let's see what happens. Right. Yes. Yes. You get like it's very easy to fall into the save scums trap, which you're supposed to. That's how you're supposed to play the game. Yes,
it's fine. But this was fun too.
Yeah, I haven't played a ton of that resort stage, so I might go try that.
I like. Yeah. Then I did the resort stage, and that's one of my favorites. And again, just because like that whole like bungalow, kitschy, kind of tacky, but also very clean and nice. Like. Beaches, like I'm into it. I'm into it, especially right now where I haven't been on a vacation in forever and probably won't be on one in forever. I'm like, oh God, put me on a beach and give me a Mai Tai or something. I don't know. Please.
Yeah. I think that the way that they do lay out Hitman games, where you are supposed to save scum through your first playthrough, and then you go to an elusive target, and then you can't save, or you can't save, or if you mess it up and you get caught or you get killed, you can't play it again. There's such extremes, and it's like you go ahead and learn the stage, save scum all you want, and then here's a challenge to like really force you to play carefully and to put all your knowledge to the test. I have really appreciated that. I'm looking forward to the first elusive target. I don't know when they're going to do it.
I'm looking forward to that because I haven't done any of this. So.
Yeah, it's cool. And like this, they probably will bring back some of the old ones too, so people could try those too. And now,
am I going to be able to beat Sean?
I imagine that they'll probably do that one, right? Because why wouldn't you?
You think they'll add new elusive targets to older stages?
I don't know.
They'll do anything like that?
I imagine
maybe not.
Yeah, I imagine that would be something they could do and would be a good way to keep the game going while they're really working on James Bond. But I don't know. I mean, that stuff also takes work, so we'll have to wait and see how they do it. All right. Yeah, so I have nothing else really I've been playing this week, just because when I've had time. I wanted to make like a Hitman 3 video. I did do a Hitman 3 video about the Dartmoor stage and about the murder mystery. Real quick, I want to talk to you about that. Have you done all of the ways to do the murder mystery?
No, and I've done a lot, pretty much everything else, but I haven't. I've like convicted the right person. I haven't figured out quite how to make her think that he actually did commit suicide. And I have actually somehow never got the family meeting to trigger. I just never hung around long enough. So I need to do that still.
Right. So you could either play long enough, or if you unlock
do the photo, right, and then she'll do it right afterwards. I think that's what I need to do.
Maybe I actually don't know. That might be the case. But if you play it, if you unlock level 20 mastery, I think like level 18 and level 19 unlock the starting points, so that when you start, the meeting is just about to happen.
Okay, that's cool.
So that means if you haven't triggered the family meeting, then there is like another way that isn't accusing anyone to kill the target. That is very interesting. That just keep playing, keep messing around. Maybe start it from the halfway point, from when the family meeting is about to start, and like just kind of. I mean, if you know who did it, maybe you could follow that person around, see what happens, that sort of thing. So.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, she's a murderer, right? Like, think about it. Like, what could, there's more happening in the stage. It's cool. All right. Like I said, I have no other games happening this week. I think I'm just going to go, think about buying Dogecoin some more.
Man, we got through the whole thing. You didn't even talk about Elden Ring once.
What's that?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
Yeah. I mean, what else was there to say? Like, there's some people in chat who keep asking me about it, but I mean, it's not a super chat. Fuck them.
We don't have to acknowledge that. Yeah, but I liked that he called you Mr. Grubb. Though,
yeah, me too. I do like that a little bit. Yeah, I could tell that's like that. Poking me, right? Poking the bear a little bit.
I will say to Sunat 3Z, even though it's not a super chat, the GameCube has the best controller. I'll say it anyways.
I like the Dick Turbo. Yeah, exactly. There's some inbreeding happening there in the Hitman game. I
covered that.
Yes, right. Yeah, and that was very funny because he's like very proud that he's not inbred. It's like, oh, homie, guess what?
Explains a lot with that guy.
Yes, explains a lot with that dipshit.
I did knock him out with the billiards ball.
Yes, very satisfying. All right, yeah. I'm probably gonna go play more Hitman, but I'm also gonna try that Cyber Shadow game. Mike, I just want to play Super Mario 3D World so bad.
It's so good. I know. Part of me is almost like to really 100% it, you have to beat every stage with every character, and that's how you get like their character stamps. I don't know if I'm going that far, especially because did you beat Champion Road, the super like hard stage?
Yes.
Yeah,
I beat everything in that
hard.
Game. Yeah,
that was very hard, and even then I had to do it with Rosalina, who automatically has kind of like a flutter jump thing.
Yeah, I wonder if I did it with her.
So it's kind of cheating.
Yeah.
Like I doing that with Mario or Toad or Luigi would still be very, very hard.
Mike, do you want to play Among Us tonight? Would you be able to play tonight?
Yes.
Might have to be a little bit late for you, but not super late. But let's try to play Among Us tonight. So if anyone listening is interested in do that, this is Friday night. I'll try to put the podcast up soon. So if you're listening to the podcast on Friday night, get in the Discord. We'll set it up there. There's like a role thing set up where if you just click the button, you click the emote, you could join the Among Us role. And we'll try to get that going tonight. That would be fun. I still haven't played, so Let's try to do it.
Yeah, that'd be good. I play quite a bit now, so I can get things going.
Awesome.
If we need to fill out spots, I have friends and stuff.
Yeah, perfect. Play, so then all right, yeah, that sounds good. Okay, cool. Then in that case, let's go ahead and get out of here. Get the rest of our day taken care of, and then we'll get back together tonight and do that. Mike, why don't you tell people where they can find you on the internet?
Find me on Twitter at Tolkoto, Tolkoto. Hey, did my viral tweet, is that more likes than you ever got? Am I more famous than you?
How many likes does it have?
Almost 80,000. Almost 80,000. The brag.
Oh yeah, that's
80.
No, I think that's more than I've ever got. Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah, somebody told me that a porn star named April O'Neil shared it on Instagram at one point. So that's very exciting. Very good.
All right then. So, well, congrats, Mike.
Yeah, thank you. Do you want to very well deserved.
You should tell people what the tweet is in case they're just
some joke about Nintendo taught everybody about stocks because through turnips, and look what happens.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I got it out there early enough that no one else thought of that one yet.
And you know what happened? I think I did see someone make that joke before you, Mike. So take that.
Well, they must not have delivered it as well.
Yeah, you're right. It's about the construction. You're right.
It's all about that. And then 90s Disney, our new episode on Spaceship Earth, the 94 version with Jeremy Irons as the narrator. That is going live on February 1st. So look out for that.
Jeremy Irons has liked one of my tweets before, so take that.
Really?
I'm lying. I'm sorry. I'm lying. I'm just jealous of you. So.
I would not think he's on Twitter.
Yeah,
I don't know why I believe you.
I doubt he is. All right, and I'm Jeff Grubb on Twitter. You can check out the YouTube page, youtube.com/Jeffrey Grubb, where we every Friday, most Fridays, we stream this show out live, so you can watch along live there. And how games make money. I think I'm going to do an episode about GameStop. So if you're for some reason want to hear more about that, I'll be talking about that.
Are you getting on that?
I don't know. I think I might do that one where it's just actually me talking about it, but we'll see. I there's some people out there that would be able to talk about
Matt
it.
Matt will do it with you.
Yeah, maybe I should. Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll ask Matt on Matt Piscadella. Okay.
I'm not doing it with you, that's for sure.
No, get fucked, Mike.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Let's get out of here. Until next week, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.
Mommy Dommy.